I was 21 years old when I started.
At 60 years old, Pastor R. Abraham has reached a milestone in his ministry. He's just wrapped a 4-day prayer meeting where world evangelists joined nearly 1 million believers in India to ask God for peace in their country. Filling this 150-acre field is quite an accomplishment in a nation where the Christian population is only a little more than 2%. And for the popular hometown pastor, who didn't want to leave his job as a chemist nearly 40 years ago.
I could even have a car. To have a car in '74 is a big deal. It was a pretty high-paying job in those days. And so you feel like your life is secure. And God spoke to me, almost like an audible voice.
What did he say?
God said to me, son, I have called you for a very specific purpose. I want you to resign your job, get out of your home, go and preach the gospel to your people. I said, oh.
Though he had no idea how to preach, Pastor Abraham obeyed the call. Just months into his ministry, he was broke, homeless, and hungry.
Having something to eat was the biggest miracle in my life in those days. And in the night, I had no place to go, so I used to wait for the shops to pull down the shutters so that I can sleep in front of the corridors of the shops. And you can imagine, and I started to wonder, why did he call me? Why?
After 2 years of prayer and patience, Pastor Abraham joined forces with another minister to start New India Church of God. The organization now reaches across India through more than 3,000 churches.
I have always responded to the leading of God and always responded to the needs. So it is a need that made me to do whatever you see was done because of the need that was before my eyes.
This orphanage is one of those needs. Here at Bethesda, which means House of Mercy, little girls recite scripture with a smile. That smile also hides the pain as they share their horrible stories of abuse. Shivani remembers her dad pouring kerosene on her mom and burning her to death. 8-year-old Tanu recalls her mom being drunk and throwing her out of the house. Their stories are too familiar in a country where parents often prefer having baby boys.
That just tore my heart apart. I just stood there and cried and cried. And the Lord was telling me, well, who is going to take care of them? So first time ever in my life, I opened my mouth and said, I'll take care of them.
He now has 14 orphanages, and he's partnered with CBN's Orphans Promise. Big things often start small, and Pastor Abraham's orphanage did just that. It began 10 years ago. The ministry was simply renting out 2 rooms inside this building. It now has 2 buildings, one for the orphanage and another for a Bible school. This is one of the ministry's 16 Bible colleges. There are also 6 Christian schools. We visited a primary school and a high school with Pastor Abraham.
I am totally committed to help the children. I really got a heart for the children. I want to do the best.
Pastor Abraham has a heart for Indian people, young and old. His latest project is building a retirement home for aging pastors.
The pastors here in India, they don't have any pension. They don't have any life insurance. They don't have any social security. The only thing is, they are either looked after by the children or they are out on the streets.
The pastor has lived on the streets and doesn't want to see anyone there. At 60, he says he's got at least another 40 years to reach them with the gospel and a heavenly home.
As long as you are ready and willing, to do God's will. That's the most important thing.
Ephraim Graham, CBN News, New Delhi, India.